Hi everyone, and welcome to the part 2 of the sketchbook tour. Today I'm going to show you my next 3 sketchbooks, and as I mentioned in the last video, I changed from a Moleskine sketchbook to a Royal Talens one because they're much cheaper and they have also really good quality paper, almost the same measurements and features, like you can still close it up and it has a bookmark, which I find really handy. So yeah, let's start with the first one. So in the last 2 sketchbooks I was mostly working from reference images, and in this sketchbook that definitely changed. I tried to sketch way more from my daily life and got outside and sat down. This is in Rapperswil, the town that I'm living in. This is the part of the old town and you can look at the lake and at the mountains. So this is a really nice spot to draw. And here I was playing around with neocolors. And at that point I still wanted every spread to look good and nice and like perfect, which is not realistic at all. And then my mom came to visit. We were sitting outside at this little cafe that had like outdoor seating in the green under trees. It was really beautiful, and I just started sketching her. And I mean, look at this hand. What is this? It looks horrible. And I don't know, that spread kind of means a lot to me because it took away a lot of the pressure. And from that point on, I didn't really take my sketchbook that serious in a way that I thought everything just needs to be a finished piece and look perfect. Here we went to a little cabin in the mountain where we sometimes stay at, and I just did some little thumbnails. I only took the black marker with me, just doodling. And here I joined a Zoom drawing session on Katie Moody's Patreon, and we were drawing outfits, I think, I'm not sure, but it was a really fun exercise. This is drawing from reference images, and I really loved the moody atmosphere I achieved in that one. And I tried it again on the next page and didn't like how it turned out at all. Didn't work out again. This is a Scribble Brigade session from Sophie McPike's Patreon. I don't really know what this was about, to be honest, but I like the outcome. I like the sketches I did there. I really enjoyed the combination of collaging elements and then the ink pen with the watered down gouache in here and then the more opaque gouache on the outside. Another Sophie McPike drawing session. Also not sure what this one was about. This one was from Becca Hall's Patreon. It was a tutorial on how to draw nests. I was quite frustrated because every time I would draw people, I wouldn't really like how they look, so I just tried out different options and combinations to see what I like. Some quick landscape doodles. This is another afternoon spent in the old town of Rapperswil, where I just tried capturing little details. Reference image drawing. Some more really quick thumbnails. I love the looseness of the lines and the blockiness of the colors and the structures that you can achieve when you don't have a lot of time and you just go in really quick. Drawing from reference images. Some quick doodles from reference images. Here I was drawing the feeling of getting home after a long day and just caving myself in with a good book and a tea and a candle at the open window. Some doodling. This was a extremely hot day and we went to the Badi, which is like the Swiss-German word for like a outdoor swimming pool. But in Switzerland it's really common to have like these pools in the lake. So you have like the infrastructure, but there's no actual pool. It's just like a dedicated area in the lake where you can safely swim, and they have like these jumping, I don't know the word, like the jumping boards and ladders, and they have like wooden ponds where you can swim to and sunbathe. Yeah, and it was really crowded and hot that day, and they also had like a cafe, which was lovely. And I was just, yeah, sketching, really quickly sketching down the people. The children were especially challenging because they're just moving so quick all the time and they never stand still. Another Sophie McPike Patreon session. I think vintage fashion was our theme here. A Becca Hall Zoom drawing session. It's 32 animals in 32 minutes. Here I was visiting my family in Hamburg, and it was my grandma's birthday, and I got her a flower bouquet that I put together myself. And instead of taking a picture, I decided to sketch it. And that way I kind of remember the whole day when I look just at this little sketch that to any other person just looks like a flower bouquet. This helps me to remember way more than if I would have taken a picture. I don't know, sometimes sketching just does that. And I think that's wonderful, like that's the superpower of sketching. Some quick sketches from reference images. Another day at the lake. Here a friend of mine was visiting and we were sketching each other. A quick lino cut I did. A happy mistake where I spilled some ink and doodled around it. Here I went to it's called Alpabzug with a friend in Switzerland. It's when the cows come down from their like summer residency up in the mountains, and in the autumn they like all come down again to the valley, to the stables to like get ready for the colder seasons. And it's like a really traditional thing to dress up the cows in like beautiful flower crowns, and they carry these huge decorated bells. I just really enjoyed the atmosphere and this sense of tradition. It was a really beautiful event. Quick sketches from references. This was another Katie Moody drawing session via Zoom, and I think the theme for this one was building narrative. So we had these different reference images that alone don't really make a lot of sense, but if you put them together, they kind of create a story. Here I went to Mallorca with my partner. We went outside of the main season and were hoping that it wouldn't be so crowded, but it was still extremely crowded. And yeah, we kind of regretted that we went to Mallorca because, yeah, I don't know, it's just not our vibe. And we went to this really little beach and like researched quite a lot and hoped that this would be not as crowdy and touristy, but it was still so crowded. Yeah, I just went up the little path that winded up the cliffs and found like a lovely spot to look like across the water, and the beach was like over here. Here I went to a museum and took reference pictures that I drew from in the evening. Little doodles from reference pictures I took throughout the week. This is another Zoom drawing session over on Katie Moody's Patreon. Here I went into the forest. It was the 1st of October, and October is by far my favorite month. And yeah, I went mushroom picking and took them home with me and then sketched them. Here I wanted to participate in Calmtober, which is hosted by Crixus every year in October over on Instagram, where you draw a prompt every second day, so not every single day. And I loved the prompts and sketched out some of the thumbnails. And some of these ideas I really want to get back to because I really enjoy them, but I didn't really have the time. So yeah, I started with a few of them. I love the atmosphere in that one. This is another Sophie McPike Scribble Brigade. Cabinet of Curiosities. I loved that sketching session. And she showed us like different pictures of knickknacks, and we would like draw our own cabinet and then fill the cabinet up with all of these curiosities. And I really love how this turned out. Some Halloweeny bits and bobs. This is another Katie Moody sketching session over on her Patreon. I like the color palette and like the overall autumnal feeling of it. And I think that's it for this sketchbook. Yeah. So sketchbook number 1, sketchbook number 2 is this one. I worked in this sketchbook from October till December 2023. The paper in this one is recycled and pretty thin, and it didn't really work well with wet medium. But yeah, this also took away a lot of the pressure having like thin paper, and yeah, it helped me again going a step further of just scribbling what I have on my mind. Here I just had an idea for a little comic that I've never got to do. This is a postcard I have on my wall, and it's been hanging on my wall for years. I just love the different layers that this image has. Like, the artist is drawing the landscape, like he's observing the landscape, and then he's getting observed by this man who's like looking at him and the landscape he's drawing, and then the dog getting in contact with us as the viewer. Yeah, I really like that. Here I was thinking about how people in the pool look like frogs when they do breaststrokes. This was a Emma Carlisle Patreon session about tones, and I was doing a really quick sketch from a reference image with the tones, like light, mid and dark tones I was choosing. And here I was quickly trying out the different tones I chose, like a light, a mid and a dark one. This looks actually really creepy, like the angle and the faces, it looks horrible, but I liked the idea and it helped me a lot. Little doodles about that feeling when you have something and you're thinking of the opposite. Like in winter when it's snowy and cold outside, you think about the summer swimming in the lake and vice versa. And I was just thinking of a few examples here. Here I went to the Zoological Museum in Zurich. And this museum was relatively close to where I was working at that time, like just a few streets away, and I never realized. So one day after work, I went there and took my sketchbook. Here I went to a live drawing class. I'm not a fan of really long poses, so if there is a longer pose, I often do like several sketches on that pose just because I don't want to spend like 15-20 minutes on one pose. It just bores me like a lot. There was this tapestry behind the woman and I just loved the idea of combining that or just bringing that in focus as well as the body. I love that little doodle. It reminds me of when I was a child and we would always go on these lantern walks. It's a thing in Germany and I think also Switzerland. And yeah, I just remembered that because it was that time of year. Here I was sketching a friend and her dog. Wondering about if I need glasses. Trying out different approaches for snowy landscapes. Like here I was going in with a oil pastel and over it with watercolor. This is an Instagram account I stumbled upon, Marina Glebova, and she does these fantasy puppets and I just found them so interesting and I sketched a few of them, actually a lot of them. And this was an approach I tried where I sketch from the reference image and then doing the sketch again and again, but always referring my own sketch and like seeing what I come up with. And it's quite interesting to see what choices you make along the process. Like, do you change the colors, the proportions, like what do you put your focus on? Some quick sketches from reference images. The feeling of like coming home to your safe space after a long and exhausting day. More reference images. I was visiting my brother here and we went to a Christmas market to a really lovely little town, and they had this hat shop and the window looked so cool, and I took reference image and sketched it out later. Trying out new markers, more puppets. This is on a train ride. Different doors I stumbled upon in Zurich. I took reference pictures and doodled them afterwards. During the colder seasons, I always have cold feet and hands, and my partner is kind of like my warming bottle, but he's not that fond of the idea. Here we were doing gingerbread houses with friends. Yeah, I was sketching down our design to like remember it. This is another Patreon Zoom drawing session from Katie Moody. I really like that one. It has like a vintage feel to me. These are scenes from movies. This is Kevin Alone in New York, I think, and this is Little Women, I'm not sure. This is me going home for Christmas, and I always feel like around Christmas everyone just carries as much as they can possibly carry, and yeah, all the presents and warm clothes, and yeah, it can be quite stressful. I love big and warm and cozy and fluffy scarves. This was, I think, also a Katie Moody drawing session. Wintry landscapes. I love the color palettes in these. Some of our Christmas decorations and our tree. I really like the boldness of the lines with this thicker ink nib. Yeah, I think that's it for this sketchbook. Almost. Yeah, so let's move on to the last one for this video. So this one I worked from December 2023 to February 2024. This was a quick swatching page to see how the paper would react to all the different mediums. And this paper is like really soft, and I wasn't really fond of this one. I got a second one because they were quite cheap, which I shouldn't have done. I still have it, but yeah, the format of the sketchbook is really cool because it's a square sketchbook, and the scale, if you like turn it around, it gets like really elongated, and I like that. Here I was doing blind sketches with only one line, which turned out to be quite fun. Here I was trying to draw like really old trees and to get like the feeling of these gnarly trees. Here I was trying out different ways for the composition and to work with tones and contrast. Some more warm-up sketches, blind sketches with only one line. I went to the Natural Museum in Chur, which is like a small town in the eastern part of Switzerland. And they had these snakes arranged in like really cool shapes. Here I got myself a fringe because as a child I always used to have a fringe, but I didn't really like it that much and I just let it grow. My mom found my first bathing suit where I did my first swimming batch with, and so I was really glad that my mom kept it all these years. This is my partner wearing a crown while he naps. There's actually this tradition in Switzerland where in January, on the 6th of January, you get yourself some buns. They're like all together and everyone picks a bun and hopes for the little king to be inside. And the one who gets the king gets the crown. And I don't remember why, but he went to bed with the crown. And I found that quite funny and just sketched it out quickly. Here I was sketching different clocks from reference images. Thinking about a book cover redo. Here I was testing out some bits and bobs for a collage, like a pool collage I wanted to do with like transparent paper. Here my partner got a 3D printer. We borrowed a 3D scanner and scanned my partner, and he printed himself. And he also made like Christmas ornament out of his head, which is ridiculous, but also funny. I found this cushion in a second-hand store. It's like basically half a chest with an arm and a hand, and thought that was quite fun. Trying out some new art materials. I got some oil pastels. Another snail. I think I did a similar sketch in one of the earlier sketchbooks. So this is another attempt at this. I just had this image in my mind of like tiny little elephants and how they would behave like little puppies. Another life drawing class. I wasn't really feeling it that day, didn't really work out the way I wanted it. I was also trying out a lot of materials and I was like having a hard time just sticking to one. A blindfolded sketch, working with negative space. Here I went to the Landesmuseum in Zurich. It's like a historic museum of Switzerland, and they have so many rooms filled to the brim with lovely artifacts. I could have spent hours and hours, but after some time you just get tired by walking around and standing. And yeah, but beautiful museum. This is a digital sketch I did, and I printed it out and stuck it in here. A lino cut. Here I was trying to plan out a lino cut. I started with like a tea time series and wanted to do 3 to 5 different tea time rituals, and I started with the Northern Germany one and was thinking about doing the English tea time next. I didn't do that one yet, but this is definitely high up on my list. Here I was at the lake really early in the morning, and the lake was just like a mirror, there were no waves, it was completely flat, and it was so cool to observe how the birds would dive down and then these rings would appear and then they would come up at another spot, and it was just really capturing, and I just kept observing them. We had friends over, and I wanted to do a dessert, and there's this one dessert that is called a Maulwurfsdessert, which is like a yogurty banana thing as like the main dessert. And then I baked chocolate cookies and you crumble them on top. And then I was thinking that my partner could 3D print some molds, so he did just that, and we put them on top, and it looked so cute in the end. Thinking about an illustration I wanted to do. I think I got a jelly plate, and this was one of the first times I was trying it out. Thinking about different poses and using like the frame of the sketchbook as a part of the composition, like playing with it and incorporating it. I love that one, the huge hands. Here I was sketching out ideas for a cover redo for the Little Ghost from Erich Kästner. I did a finished illustration and mock-up for this one. These are some of my lino cut bookmarks I did over the years. I think, yeah, that's it for the last sketchbook. And with that we flipped through all 3 of them. And I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in part 3. Bye everyone!